Right, our next featured poet is Vaughan-Williams, and Anne, I think it's the third time Anna's read at DODO. She's got a new collection out, which is called The Lines We Trace, and she was kind enough to let me have a copy earlier this year, and it's a very chunky, good read, apart from having beautiful poems in it. It'll keep you occupied for quite a long time. Anne grew up in Uganda, spent the first 14 years of her life, and she came to Norfolk. She worked for many years as a psychiatric social worker, and her poetry arises from all the experiences, of course, that she's had. She also is active as a poetry organiser, teaching creative writing in the past in Merton, Kingston and Richmond. She co-runs a weekly writing group in Rains Park Library, and she edited the Long Poem magazine for 5 years and has co-edited anthologies for Merton Poets. So not only a worker in words, but a worker in getting the words out to other people. So I'm really delighted to have Anne Vaughan-Williams back at DODO Modern Poets.
Thank you for kind words. But my first poem is, these poems are going to be out of Uganda in the first section, and this is about being with my ayah, which is a mother's help, my ayah. Her voice says, "Come." We sit in the shade of a palm. She strips the leaves. We weave a mat, plait ourselves a mat. We weave the strands, plait ourselves a mat. Her legs tuck sideways, folded wings, her arm about me. We sing along the lines we trace in her palms. And that's the title poem of the book, The Lines We Trace, and I see her playing with me by tracing the lines in our palms. I spoke her language when I was 3 years old. The second poem I'll read. My sister was born when I was nearly 3 years old, and I think there's a little bit of jealousy in this poem. Breastfeeding. My sister arrived between my father's brown pages as I sat within his arm and his hip in the flower-decked armchair he filled. Yes, I sat in the hair of his arm as he turned the farmer and stock breeder, the breeds of the pigs lighting up in his lap. My bewilderment, mother absent at bedtime. Everyone recalled they made my mother leave the cricket pitch, drove her to the hospital. That was 200 miles. She must have her baby, was caught out. I burst into the white bathroom, pristine enamel, not just tin. There she lay, on my mother's white-tied apron, refusing the milky taps. So there she was, not waking to the teat filling my eyes, which I'd have snapped up, but it was not decent. I am always drawn to pigs. It's the snouts, like that first nipple in the white. I'm for piglets feeding in pictures and for real, in the low grunting dark of the longboat barn, with the roof of grass that drips to the ground and holds a world. This one is about me being rather unpleasant to my doll, I think. It's called Lynette. I dress her, pull up the knickers, iron the frock. I jab the head, the hair won't comb. The limbs snap off, the elastic quivers, breaks. A leg in my hand, the body is limbless. My mother repairs her, but her legs swivel. One day a finger snaps off. A chip in her curly head reveals grit. Lynette tells me the bit knocked off her nose was nothing. I try to straighten her knees, wish her eyes to open and shut, but they remain painted. She is stubborn, the way she looks out, a head full of thoughts. Resistance I admire. I thought I would take you. I first visited England in 1945 when I was 4 years old, and so I met my grandparents for the first time. And I found that my grandfather was growing carrots, and they were the same as the carrots we had in Uganda. Allotment. Granddad's burry voice in my head, my gloved hand in his, the cold nips my face as we enter mounds of leaves, all browns. We kick the heaps, they crackle like burning grass. All the trees in England are skeletons. We pick up acorns at the oak tree circle, their brown eggs nest in pixie hats, buried in soil that's cold and wet. They'll sprout to enormous heights, he says. We grow great trunks that make the ships that sail the seas between our world and his. At home in Uganda, we have acacias, kept flat-topped by elephants, levelled underneath by dik-dik deer who skip and reach to eat. Grandad digs his fork in his allotment earth, presses the prongs down deeply. All his weight on his foot, he lifts orange carrots with feathery tufts, popped up in his plot. And this one is called Christmas Picnic, 1954. This was the year before we came to England. So I was 14 when we came to England. I thought you said 40 when you introduced
14,
me.
I
I was
14.
14.
That's right, pronunciation, sorry.
But Christmas in Uganda was different from what I subsequently came to learn in England. 2 carloads of families arrive at the lake's edge. They unload the baskets filled with delicacies. A tablecloth is spread, blankets for seating. Christmas food is unpacked, leg and breast of turkey, sausages and rolls of bacon, Scotch eggs, garden lettuces, tomatoes, potatoes. There are mince pies and mangoes. The tall girl is hot. She wants to swim. The lake gleams, cool and inviting. However, there is no swimming. There are crocodiles. The white sand, not suited to sandcastles, trickles through fingers and toes, fine and clear as salt. The girl walks along the shore, sensing strangeness in the reeds, where a snakebird dives under the surface, its long neck reappearing about to strike. The girl tries to tread on firmer ground. Sharp-bladed grasses slash at her legs, arms stung by little insects, so many insects competing for her bare flesh, but her skin is firm. The big tree offers shade, explodes with squeaks of bats, the chirrups of birds. The men fall asleep in the shade and start to snore. The women relax and there's laughter. The boys want to fish, but mustn't because of crocodiles. The girl moves along the beach, hot sun scorching her feet, and no cool breeze. A game of hide and seek is proposed, the children running and disappearing behind long grasses and prickly bushes. The girl comes upon a cave away from the shore, the roof black with hornets. She backs out into the path of a boy who has found her. He'd snatch a kiss, but she runs off. He gives chase. The girl returns to the island of picnic rugs. The baby keeps crawling off in pursuit of a line of marching ants. The girl sees the boy, blushing. She plays patty cake with the baby. This is Christmas Day, the sun beating relentlessly, the water out of bounds, but there's the view. The trees too hostile for climbing, caves full of threat, the air heaving with insects, the boy watching the girl. One more.
Yes,
Yes?
fine, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this one jumps ahead to, oh no, now I need to read resolutions because it's another Uganda one. Resolutions. I am resolved to eat mangoes in the new year, taste the sweet juice. I am resolved on avocado pears, the soft flesh, the gentle flavour. To drink a glass of white wine chilled for the pleasure. I am resolved to photograph my new grandchild, print her face on my mind. I will eat mushrooms for my tea, the mysterious taste raising little ecstasies.
And Vaughan-Williams, and Anne will be back as we'll open up, and some more open mic poets in the second half. Just to say, by the way, that if you, Anne's book is on sale here, and it says on the back that if you buy a copy, £3 goes towards a school in Uganda. So there you are. Anyway, it's worth buying just to read, because that's what the purpose of books. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back.